Okay, welcome back. Gonna give another review of today's trade session. Before I do that, I thought I might just wanna show a few images here of that kind of shows a little bit in a simplified way what it is that I'm looking for when I'm taking these trades. It's obviously there's more nuances to it than this, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what it is that I'm looking for. Because I know it can look quite chaotic and hectic when I'm trading and I'm placing many orders within a very short time. So, but basically the main idea of this setup is, so here's just 3 images. I'm gonna go through them. It's basically just like a sequence in time, right? So this is the 5 seconds chart. I'm not really trading per se on the 5 seconds chart. Is just how I like to see it. I'm trading levels, so the time frame of the chart is not really that important. But within each of these, so when there's 20 bars is forming, that will be a 1 minute bar, and on each of those 1 minute bars I have a volume profile attached, right? So this 1 minute bar opened up here, came down, and I think the close must be here, and then the body looks like that, and then it wicked down here, and it wicked up here, right? So this is the first 1 minute bar of the open of the Nasdaq open, and within this 1 minute we see where was most of the volume traded within that one minute bar, right? So we definitely see that it didn't take a lot of volume to push through in the beginning of the move. This is obviously a red bearish bar, so there's not a lot of volume traded up here. Then we start picking up with volume. So these lines going out to the right, that's basically displaying where is most of the volume traded. This gray line is the volume point of control, so that's where the absolute most volume was traded within this 1 minute bar. So basically you can see prices moving down as this candle is forming. Then we start having interest from buyers. That's probably what is causing all of this volume being traded, right? So there is buyers think now it is at a good discount to buy it up, but sellers are also still interested in selling it lower down, right? So there's a bit of a struggle going on between the two sides. Ultimately, though, we see let's just get rid of this again. Ultimately, we see that the sellers win the battle, so we get out of this volume pocket or this high volume node, and price is trading down lower, right? And here then there's sort of like a lag of participation, so that basically just tells me, okay, the buyers are kind of giving up. They're not trying to push it up higher, at least for now. Things change very fast. Just because volume is fading doesn't mean that it can't be pushed up again very fast. But basically then what I'm looking at, right, so we had this move. This is a 1 minute bar. There was a bit of a fight. Are the bulls gonna win or the bears gonna win? The bears ultimately won. They break it down lower, and many times for price to continue in one direction, the market kind of has to come back to a fair value where there is interest from both buyers and sellers before continuing in the direction that the market is going, right? So if price wants to go down lower, rarely do you see that price is just continuing to drop without having any pullbacks, right? I mean, that's basically how the market flows. There's a momentum move, then there's a pullback, another momentum move, and so forth. So I'm placing a limit order right here, basically close at these volume point of control. And I'm also keeping an eye on these wicks. So there's a few wicks here and right here. So basically these areas where there's definitely some liquidity hiding up above. There's some stop orders of traders that started selling, and there's larger sellers, they are interested in coming back up and taking that liquidity. Right, I'm also seeing these wicks, like this significant wick up here. That's basically where the whole volume node started, right? That's where most of the volume is traded, and the upper wick of that volume node is right here. And we also see a small volume node poking out right here, and we see some here obviously, and then again up here in the open. Right, so basically what you can see is these volume nodes is typically holding as some form of support. I mean, not always, but many times they do. So this is an interesting point of entry for a sell going in the direction of the trend, where there is established fair value between buyers and sellers, and ultimately they agreed on selling. So that means that sellers will see this as a very fair value. It's basically like, if you're participating in the selling move right here, you're already getting in at a worse price than what it was for you up here, right? There's more of a discount for you if you're selling when price is up here. So if price comes back up into this level, many sellers will think, now it's at a good price again. I'm willing to participate now in the move down. They're not willing to sell into it here. At that time, it's already too expensive for them, right? And many times you'll see if this one doesn't hold, then the next one is going to hold. If that one doesn't hold, typically that means that the trend is, or the direction of the overall move is changing, right? Then you might have a break of that level and then come back down to this high volume node and then continuing up in that direction. So again, it's basically just looking at market structure together with volume, and then volume really tells me where is most likely going to be support and resistance. So basically I place a sell order, then a few seconds later, so this is what, 15 seconds later, this is the bar that we see on this image. We get 15 seconds later, we're tagged into the trade. My platform is automatically placing a stop loss order at, I believe it's like 30 ticks. I had it set to here. I have my ATR based stop loss and take profit. So this is like 29 ticks, and also 29 ticks for the take profit. I move, in this case, I would move my stop loss up just a little bit higher just to get above this high volume wick, because I am thinking, well, if this volume here doesn't hold, they probably want the liquidity up here, right? So I'm willing to risk a little bit more, a few extra ticks, if that should happen. Sometimes you could even argue you can scale in at the second volume node, and then, you know, if you want, you can get out at break even. You're thinking, okay, I might have gotten the direction wrong, or you get the full profit of then both of the entries. But let's just get rid of this again here. So basically, price comes up, tags us in, and then it does go a little bit higher here. So this is a little bit later in time again. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever. Half a minute later. Price came up to this area. You see that it does reject a little bit here. So we had this wick down. So they tried to make the move that doesn't quite hit our take profit. So they give it one more push up, and they actually come up to this wick that we talked about before, and then they make the move down. I like to move my take profit up to, I don't want to get greedy with my take profit, because if this is going to turn into like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. So we have left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. Many times price will only come down to where most of the volume was traded within that bar, right? And if we see on the very first image here, we saw that the volume point of control by the time that this 1 minute bar started was actually down here. That also tells you, okay, the sellers that came down here was met with a lot of volume, and that volume managed to push price back up into the range, meaning there is definitely a buyer sitting down here. Now, we don't know if that buyer is going to be there again once price comes down there, but because I'm scalping and I'm in and out in most of the time in less than a minute, I just don't want to risk it, because it's just frustrating when price comes down and I see there is a resistance, and I'm greedy and I put it just one tick below, like let's say I have it here, right? And price comes down to this volume and then goes back up. I just prefer, okay, even if I'm losing a few ticks here and there, in the long run, I'm definitely, my win rate is very high, because I'm always placing my take profit at the nearest resistance for the move. So even if price reverses, I get that bounce and then I'm out. And in this case, I don't remember what happens, but price is close to take profit. So we probably got out of that one at a take profit. So yeah, that's the basic idea of it, right? That I'm basically just using volume as a form of support and resistance, and then it's really all about figuring out what is the direction of the overall trend. And many times you're also in a ranging market, and then I'm happy to go both ways. If it's definitely trending in one direction, then I only want to be in the direction of the overall move. But if we're in a ranging market, I take trades to both directions. So that might help a little bit. Just give me a second here. Okay. So going on to today's session, this is the P&L. Let me just get this here into fix to the screen. So that's the P&L of the day. It's quite okay. I took quite a few trades. I think I took about 70 trades. I'm wondering why we don't see my mouse now here on this. Just give me a second. Okay. So yeah, this was the P&L of the day. Started off with just hitting loss after loss after loss. There was a huge whip off the open. I normally don't like Monday opens. I should really get better at just sitting on my hands for the first 5 minutes or so, and then let the market shake out, do what it wants to do, and then before I start participating. But regardless, we had a few bad trades, and then we made that back. Took another little loss, made another leg to the upside, came down, and then came up. I was only trading 1 micro at a time today. I was copy trading into a couple of accounts, so I just wanted to make sure that was going well. And also Mondays, I'm typically not performing the best, so I just scaled down all the way down to 1 micro. I'm trading a small funding account with a company called Fast Track Trading, and I only have $1,200 of drawdown. So I was aiming at about $150 for the day. That's gets, what is it, 12% of my drawdown. So that's quite an aggressive target, but I mean, it's definitely achievable when you are scalping like this. So that's how it ends up for the day. Let's go back to the beginning and then see how it played out here. Let's go into where we open, and you'll see right off the open. So where the color changes from blue to black is the open, right? So this is 9:30 Eastern time. And we have this massive move to the upside. And I normally don't like these moves where there's not a lot of pullbacks. It's just one straight line up. So now, similar to what I showed you before, right? I would be interested in an area like this if price comes back down to it, but it just keeps pushing up higher. So it's difficult to say where is a good place to place my pending order at this time. Now I do sort of see that a lot of volume will start being printed up at the top. Could mean that it's starting to get absorbed. And also there's not a whole lot of interest, but I think they managed to squeeze price up higher even. Here I'm just zooming out to see where these overall pre-market highs. So now the first minute bar close, I'm placing my pending order here at the highest volume in that bar. But I think price keeps squeezing. Here, fall down. And the price action of the open here is just, I just hate this kind of price action where we have this very strong move to the upside, and now it's just going to fall apart and goes all the way back down. It's basically just a whipsaw. It takes everybody out. Now I am thinking though, okay, we do have this liquidity forming down here below this wick, and that could be a good entry also to if they want to take it up higher, they want the liquidity down below that and then take it up higher. So I'm still okay with it, but I just get run through. I try at the next demand zone here. We get a little push up close to my TP, but just keeps running down, right? So two losses
Order placed
in a row. Then I try the third demand zone here. I don't know if I'm gonna take a win on that one. Let's see what happens. Canceled. Again, it's really just demand off of this high volume node right here, but again, they're just running it further down.
Order filled.
So I could have taken a bit more profit on that one, but again, I was looking at this week here with a bit of volume here, so I didn't want to get in the way. I didn't want that to get in the way of getting out of take profit. Again, on the left, on the right here, you'll see the equity start updating in a bit. It's very slow at updating. The Atas, the platform that I'm using, is has promised me that they're gonna fix it, so it gets faster at updating. It used to be like that in the past, but for some reason it's just they made an update and it has gotten very slow at updating. But again, here I placed another trade here off of this whole volume sitting here, but they just zigzag run me over so many times here.
Order filled.
And also in this session, I think I had like at least 10 times where I placed a limit order to enter. Price comes down, is like 1 or 2 ticks away from tagging me out, and then goes straight to my profit. And I hate that when that happens over and over again. Where I'm absolutely right on the trade, but my entry order is just 1 tick too far away, and I don't get to participate in it. But sometimes it's like that. I mean, there are no excuses when it comes to trading. You gotta, like, at the end of the day, your daily P&L is really what matters. Or you can come up with excuses all you want. It doesn't really change anything. But it is very frustrating when that happens, or when you get like 1 tick away from the take profit and then price reverses and takes you out for a full loss when you are basically almost at your take profit.
Order filled.
So again, here I'm not really sure of the direction because of this move, right? So I'm thinking on if this is gonna come up as a wave, a lower low, like a high, a low, a lower high, and then they're gonna make a lower low. They're probably going to come up and take the volume up here. That's why I placed the sell limit order at sort of where this supply started from. And we also see these wicks where ultimately the buyers failed, and then we have this strong move to the downside. I'm thinking again on the same, right? If this is a low, here's a high, here's a low, kind of like something in between, they're coming down. Probably they if this is going to be a higher low compared to this one, they probably want to come back down to this demand zone right here. We start seeing like a squeeze, or like a flag pattern, I guess. And the question is always,
order
I think
placed.
here's one of those where it's like,
order cancelled.
Yeah, almost got filled.
Order filled.
Maybe it's not one of these now. I think either I win this one or I'm, well, here I'm getting ready to close it out. I don't like how it rejects off of these wicks down here. And again, like I was a few ticks away from my take profit. So I think I'm going to take a loss here, to be honest. Yeah, it looks like it. I should get out of that trade. I don't know. I'm hesitating to exit. Yeah, here, I mean, I had an issue with Rithmic. So basically the data feed just stopped. It froze. That happens every now and again. I hate it when it happens, especially if you have open limit orders and you haven't set your take profit and TP. That is not a good thing. But that I noticed that can happen with these prop accounts. They don't have the best servers to trade on, to be honest. So here I'm just trying to refresh the page and then get my feedback. I'm checking my internet connection, everything is fine. But yeah, it's the Rithmic connection that was. Now I do start seeing something interesting here with like pretty sharp divergence, lack of participation on the buy side. So that means now limit orders are definitely pushing this price higher. And it could mean that it's about to roll over also. I place my buy here off of this volume right here. It might be a little bit
order filled.
Yeah, and the wicks down here, so there's like a liquidity sweep. But again, they do the same thing where there is very strong move to the upside, followed by, I don't know if I take a loss here, but followed by a very sharp move to the downside. I took an extra contract here, hoping to get out at
order filled.
At a smaller profit, but then I take the full loss on both of these. So that was an expensive trade, that one.
Cancelled. Order cancelled.
And this is what I mean, what I said before, why I like to take my take profit at these high volume nodes, because you saw how price came up into it and then it started rejecting it. And that is very frustrating when you see, okay, the trend is actually down, or the overall market is being pushed down, and they come back up to this resistance area, this volume that was traded up there, and then it rejects and your take profit is right above it. I mean, you might lose. And I got out right pretty much at the top tick on this one.
Order cancelled.
So now I'm thinking, okay, there's definitely aggression to the downside. At the same time, we do see divergence on the delta oscillator here. So I think this is one of those where it's like a few ticks away from being tagged into the position, and then it's gonna run up without me. Yeah, oh man, I just hate when that happens. And then on the flip side, I don't know if it actually now goes down. But again, like hours.
Order filled.
Okay, I got into that one. Let's see if I get out with profit on that trade at least. For sure, there's rejection up in the area, right? And that's the first thing I want to see. And that then did work out pretty much to the tick on that one with the entry. So again, I left my order down here, even though that I normally don't like to take the trades where the move has already happened. But again, because we start seeing many times we'll see the reversal and then a little liquidity grab below those lows before they then start running it all the way up. And there was still a very strong move here to the upside. So I'm thinking there must still be some buyers left in this market. I did place an extra buy limit here just to scale in again. It's not really something I recommend, but because I'm only trading one micro and I have a set stop loss, it's not really dangerous. I never just keep on scaling in like martingale grid type of trading. I burned my account way too many times with that. So, but I'm okay with adding one extra contract here and there. Here we saw something that I missed out on. So price rejected off of this 1 minute bar. Most of the volume was being printed down here. Price came back into the point of control and then made the buyers were still sitting down here. I don't know why. I think I was starting to get a little bit after a losing streak like this. It's sometimes can be a little bit difficult to pull the trigger and stick to your plan. So here I'm just pulling out a larger profile just off of this entire move, just to see a bit more of a higher time period where most of the volume is traded. So we see a very high node here, we see a very high node here, we see the point of control of all of this price action right here where we are now. I could arguably sell this. Don't know why I'm not doing that. Yeah, and price rejected off of that point of control very beautifully.
Order filled.
So again, I'm happy with this entry. We're below liquidity, and there is this very high volume node right here. This is also an interesting area, I think. Yeah, then I place an extra limit order down there, just if price quickly flushes down. I'm willing to risk that. I don't know if I'm going to take a full loss here again then on both. Okay, and that one I get out at a small profit. I think actually this one continues up higher because there's a lot of volume up here that I expect them that they want to get up into. I did take a sell there, probably expecting like a break and retest of the volume here. So let's see if I get out of that one.
Order filled.
Again, I'm keeping my take profit right here, this high volume node. And also looks like I got out of that one just to the tick. I don't know if price is going to continue up, but this is what I want to avoid. I don't want to be in this trade anymore if price already came down to close to my take profit and there is a high volume with high possibility of resistance, and I don't want to be in it anymore if price then reverses. So
order placed. Order canceled.
So now I'm seeing some aggressive buying here. So I place a buy limit order, and I think it also was like a takeaway from being filled. I still had my sell order up here at these volume nodes starting forming up here, but too much aggression in the sell. I took it in the buyer side. I took an immediate sell at the point of control, just thinking again, like if the sellers are still here now, at least they're up at fair value. So there's probably going to be some that are still interested in trying to push it lower down. I take this one off this demand zone, so I should arguably have waited for, obviously now it's easy to see, right? This is where most of the volume was actually traded. I didn't expect them to come down so aggressively. So I got in a little bit early here off of this volume node right here, and also the top of the range here. I don't remember if I'm gonna take a loss on this one. We also see a pretty strong divergence here on the oscillator, so also shows me, okay, the aggression is over. They're probably gonna start pushing it up. So the question is just, are we gonna get all the way up to the take profit when I had such a bad entry? We did again, just placing this off point of control. It is a bit sketchy when we played this already 3 times, because typically the more times price goes against a resistance, the weaker the resistance gets. So now I'm placing the limit order up here at this volume node here. Pretty aggressive, I would have to say, after a strong move like that, but got out of it fine. And then I'm again ready to continue the move to the upside if price comes down to point of control. So when point of control fails to hold as resistance, again, classic support and resistance theory, I guess. Resistance becomes support, or support becomes resistance. So they break through their resistance and then come back down into it, and then I'm thinking, okay, it might hold as support, and then continue the move to the upside. And it did that right there. So again, obviously my channel is very young. I don't really have any subscribers, but the idea with this is basically just to run these, because I don't have time to talk during the actual trading streams, because I have to pay full attention to what's going on in the market. So the idea with these review and commentary and Q&A videos, there's another one of these where it's like I take away from my limit order and then just goes right back up. So annoying. But anyway, yeah, so the idea is basically just that if anybody has any questions and they're trying to learn how to scalp with based off of volume and delta, this is the time that people can ask, really.
Order placed.
and also just to explain a little bit more in depth of what it is that I'm looking at, because otherwise it just looks completely random if you're only looking at the trading stream. So the reason why I entered off of that one, again, we have the volume profile of, so it looks a bit confusing, I'm aware of that, because we have the volume profile of each 1 minute bar, and then I also dragged out a profile here on this move. So typically when I drag out the profile of a part of the chart, it's of one momentum move that I'm interested in. And so I place my buy order there because, again, we have these wicks down here. I know there's liquidity down below, and there is a high volume node sticking out here. So I'm also, of course, looking at this wick down here, but there's not a lot of value being traded down here. This is kind of like a dead space after that. So I was thinking most of the buyers would see fair value around this area, but they, market makers or whatever you want to call them, the bigger guys, they wanted the price down here. So it came down, reversed. Don't know if I'm gonna get out at take profit. So yeah, here I'm moving down my take profit just at the point of control again, because I'm worried that we might just get up into point of control and then reverse. Now we saw point of control moving down. That just means there's this heavy volume being traded now. I take it out there at a small loss, and I think it's going to be a win. The reason why I took it off at a small loss is because we saw the point of control was up here. Then there were a lot of fighting, and point of control moved down. And then now I'm paying attention to where is the move then going? Because when you see point of control moving down, that means now, before most of the fight was going on up in this area, then it moves further down. That means, okay, now there's heavy volume being traded right here. Price is not really moving at that time. And when price is not moving, but there's a lot of volume traded, that means there is a battle going on between buyers and sellers, right? The one buys, one sells, one buys, one sells. And they just ping pong price up within a very few ticks without really moving price. And at some point, somebody is going to give up. We saw the quick flush to the downside. That means I'm expecting, okay, the buyers gave up, the sellers won. They won for a short little bit, but then price immediately shoots up and probably hits my take profit now. But again, that's just how it is. Sometimes you can't always get it right. I should get better at just holding on to trades, accepting the loss if I'm on the wrong side, and because most of the time when I notice most of the time when I exit out of positions for a small loss, it actually would have played out for a win. Typically my losses is like I'm just completely wrong and price goes shoots through my entry level and goes straight to my stop loss.
Order placed.
So I guess that could be a lesson for me to get a little bit better at.
Order placed.
So now we see on the equity, we're pretty much back to break even plus a little bit for the day. Again, I'm placing sell limit here basically just because of the highest volume that was printed is there. I think it's probably going to shoot through me. I'm not sure. I do know that it is a bit sketchy to take that trade, but again, because we have a move up, consolidation, a low formed, and they're probably going to make a higher high here, which I did right there. So on the wrong side of that one. Here I don't know if they're just immediately flushing down again, but basically again, same principle. We have this strong move up. Where was most of the volume traded in that move? Right here. So if we have a break and retest type of trade, I'm expecting this level to be the area to hold. And it seems, at least for now, it is. I'm also looking at these wicks. Typically, again, it's like a classic head and shoulders pattern. Many times if we have a
order filled,
push up through and then down and then up, many times the wicks on the left side of that move is then going to be what holds as as resistance. So again, here I'm just dragging out the profile just to see a little bit better what's going on. Now we see most of the volume was traded up here. That also tells me there's a big seller sitting up here.
Order placed.
Doesn't mean, and that's why I'm placing then the sell limit here.
Order
Doesn't mean
placed.
that he's still there if price comes back up into it. But again, I've take away from being filled, and then price is already at where my take profit would have been. And at that time, I'm already thinking, okay, the move has already been done. It's dangerous to still try to play that play. So not really happy about having my sell limit order up there still. Now I'm also looking at these nodes down here. Probably I don't remember if I'm gonna place a buy limit down there.
Order filled.
So I got
Order
filled.
cancelled.
But again, yeah,
Order filled.
I took up my take profit all the way up to point of control, and we also see got
Order
rejected
placed.
immediately. Now I don't know if it's gonna continue further down. But again, I want to be out during the first move, the first rejection. If there is a rejection, I don't want to be in it anymore. And just because this is where most of the volume is traded, I don't really like to have my take profit lower down. I think that looks like it's probably a good idea on this one.
Order filled.
Okay, again, the reason why I'm having this buy order here is liquidity down here below these wicks, and this is the high volume below that. Placing my take profit, same thing, right under the point of control. I don't know if we're gonna get up there or not. Looks like they're trying, but also looks like they're getting rejected here. There's a lot of volume being formed also now, so I'm happy I hold on to that one. I think I'm gonna get out at a win. I'm not
Order
sure.
filled.
Yeah, we got that one. But that would typically be also something where when we get up and then we get the move down, I'll just close it
Order
out at a
placed.
small loss. But then that's typically like the manipulation that then end up. They just need a little bit more liquidity before they make the real move. So now I'm placing at the next level, right? We have the liquidity here, whereas most of the volume below that liquidity is down in this node right here. It was one of those again where price actually hit my order, I didn't get filled, and now we're already back up. So frustrating. I think this
Order
at least the
filled.
fifth one, and now second time,
Cancel.
right? This is what I mean. I don't like being in the move on the second move. I don't know if I'm gonna get out of this one, but I really don't like that. I take away from my take profit. I think I'm gonna take a loss on this one. That now that I see it, man. I mean, it's. Let's see what happens. Looks like I'm gonna get
Order
out at a
filled.
win. Yeah, at least I got out at a win there, but that would have been so unfortunate to first be one take away from entry, hitting my take profit level,
Order
coming back down,
placed.
filling me, and then being one take away from my take profit before reversing. That would have been pretty annoying. So again, just placing my sell limit order up here at the point of control, where we had the consolidation up here. If this is going to roll over, this was where most traders found fair price. So I'm thinking if price comes up to that area, obviously there's also this volume right here, and there's also lots of volume being traded in here. So I don't remember what's going to happen here. Let's see. Now the question is this like, is it the wave like this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then
Order
coming up
filled.
5? So going, yeah, they immediately shoot it up higher. So that was the wave count, right?
Order placed.
It could also
Order
look like it was
cancelled.
about to fall over. We on a smaller time frame, we
Order
did
placed.
start seeing lower highs and lower lows. So a high, a low, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. So sometimes depending on what time frame you're looking at, you can see reasons why both to go short and long.
Order
think I'm gonna
placed.
place a limit order up there just because again we see price coming up, getting rejected very aggressively. Right here we see all this volume, and again, I mean, I cannot make it up. I take away from
cancelled.
filling me, and then going straight to my target, and I'm not in the move. It's just something that messes with my psychology when I'm experiencing that over and over and over again in the same trade session. And now I don't want to be in it anymore because, you know, you already seen it a few times now that when I'm then finally in it, they do this, right? And then it's too late. Like, you need to get that first move. That is a rejection that you're looking for. That's the collection of liquidity that they're aiming for. I mean, I think I would have gotten away with it at this time. My stop loss would have been somewhere up here, but still, I really want to be in the first move, unless that I know that I'm in the overall with the overall trend of the market, and this one is obviously like a clear counter trend, right? We have this strong momentum move, and
Order cancelled.
yeah, I would maybe consider leaving it there if there's liquidity and the trend is overall in the direction of what I'm trading.
Order placed.
So now they were very eager to push it lower down. I've already placed a limit order down below my stop loss, so it's just like if they take me out for my loss here,
Order
I
cancelled.
want to get into the move if they come down to this demand zone. So because there were like this dead space in the volume. You see almost no volume traded here, almost no volume traded here. But then again, volume, there's a lot of
Order filled. Order filled.
fair prices down in this area. So I took the loss, and then now let's see if I get a win out of it. And this time I take a little bit more of a higher take profit.
Order cancelled.
I am looking at the point of control here. I don't want to see getting rejected too much. But we also see buyers stepping up immediately when the sellers are trying to sell it down. So I'm okay with leaving my take profit up there for now. Again, the sellers are trying, but the buyers are buying it up immediately. And that also just kind of tells me, okay, they probably just needed some liquidity down in this whole zone, like where most of the volume is traded. If they want to take it up even higher, they need to come down and pick that up. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna skip forward a little bit because it's just repeating over and over again. Let's just skip forward a little bit. Again, here we had a strong move up. There's some
Order placed.
consolidation here, and I'm basically just trying to get in on one of these higher volumes here. And again, I'm doing that same play as you saw before, where we have a strong move up, but then we see a lot of volume traded up here, almost the same as where most of the volume is traded in all of this, in all of this price action, right? We have the volume profile tagged out on this entire range, and there is a lot of price going on down here. And despite that, even though there's like just, you know, barely any price being traded up here, like when you look at the candlesticks, it doesn't look like there were a lot of activity going on up there. We have a spike up, and then we have, you know, one little indecisive bar, and then a bar down. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but look at the volume traded up there. Almost as big as all of the volume traded with all of these bars together. That again just tells me, okay, this move got hit a ceiling by a large limit order that just kept absorbing all the buyers trying to push up higher. So that's why I'm okay with trying to take a reversal like that, even though it looks very aggressive. I think this looks like one of those again where I'm a takeaway. I mean, it is crazy in this session. I take a two away from being filled, and then price goes straight to my target, to my where my take profit would have been.
Order cancelled.
So again, I take that off. Now let's see if I get the reversal. I mean, is that now doing the same thing? Kind of
Order
looks like
placed.
it. Tick away from my entry price. I think I have to be a little bit less. So it looks like I'm leaving the limit order up there now, even though it's like in against the direction of the trend, and I don't like that. But I think I'm getting. Oh, man, I mean, there was literally like.
Order filled.
Okay, so then I'm filled, and then
Order
I
canceled.
think I'm gonna, yeah, I remember this. I think I'm gonna close out at a small loss, and then it actually does reverse and come back down. Obviously, I'm also lucky that I didn't hit my take profit or
Order
my stop
canceled.
loss, but so frustrating those. We almost get filled, goes to your take profit, and then it comes back up and it just drives through you. I mean, it is quite emotional
Order
to trade
placed.
scalping like this, but at the same time, I think I'm kind of addicted to it, so I am enjoying it, even though it can be very frustrating at times. So yeah, let's just go through these. And it just starts ranging, and again. So yeah, here we can see basically 76 trades. Again, I'm trading just these small fast trading accounts, so basically one micro contract. If you are trading one NQ mini, you could put a 0 behind this, right? So your total PNL would be 1,580, and your max drawdown would have been 1,000. So I'm not too happy with the drawdown. That was off the open that I took that massive drawdown. But again, it's about 1 to 1.6. So my drawdown is, or my profit is 1.6 larger than my drawdown, max drawdown of the day. So it's okay. Profit factor 1.5 almost. It's okay, but I mean, obviously without this losing streak here would have been a lot better. But overall, quite okay. Nobody's watching, so there's no comments. If you tune in at another time when I'm live, feel free to ask any questions and I'll try and answer them while I'm doing these commentary sessions. If you get any value out of it, just hit the thumbs up, share the video if you feel like with somebody that you think could get something out of it. And yeah, I really just hope to create a small community of profitable traders. The online YouTube space, trading influencer space is so toxic, and honestly, I just don't believe anything or most of it. I mean, if you're not taking trades in front of the audience, I don't think you should be allowed to educate on trading whatsoever. But that's just my opinion. So anyway, if you got something out of it, just hit the thumbs up. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if not, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.